Hello and welcome to Art, Creativity, and Well-Being. This is the show where we are always working to support you in bringing the same kind of care for yourself that you are accustomed to giving to others. I am Kay Lockcolp, and I am really glad to be with you today. I'm a coach, I'm a creator, and I am a thru hiker who used to need a wheelchair. And I'm bringing you a series, and it's funny because I say you. I'm bringing us a series of short self-care quickie things that we can do in times of trial, in times of stress, in busy times, that can help us, I don't know, help us put something down, help us feel more ease, help us enjoy what there is to enjoy in these times. I'm recording this about 3 days before the winter solstice, and I feel like it's such a busy time for folks that it's a great time to employ some of these practices, even just one of them, the one that appeals most. And that they're helpful not only in times like this, they're also helpful in easier times. They can help kind of maintain that. So whenever you're listening to this over the course of the year, or wherever we are in the year, I feel glad that you are here and glad that you're listening. And today's is a very quickie self-care idea taken directly from my the course that I created called Breathing Space One Day at a Time. This course it was created for and lives in the community that I made called Dreamers and Doers. I founded this community. I am joyfully engaging with the people in it, and I'm watching it grow. And I'm so grateful for for the group, for the people in it, for what's being created, for what's being asked for, and for what's being just what the time in it is like. And part of that is knowing that we can take a little breathing space one day at a time. There's a course in there that has every day for right now 2 months. So every day for 28 days, and then the next 28 days magically appears when you've been in the community for that long, and then you can play with that one. And then my vision is that there will be a month 3 that will also appear magically once you've been in the community for 2 months. And I'm, well, put it this way, I chose today's for a reason. And what I'm going to do is simply share it, and then you'll have it too to use how you would like to use it. So it is from the week that is called Curiosity Experiments, and this is day 32 of Breathing Space One Day at a Time. It is simply this. Ask yourself, what if today were easier than I expect? What if today were easier than I expect? The word ease is one that I have been reflecting on lately. It is something that can be elusive, that and that can be, I would say, obstructed by events in our lives. Well, not necessarily the events in our lives, but the way that we respond or react to them, how they can take us off of our midline and pull us into a corner. If you're familiar with the tennis court analogy for like life, which I understand as, the best tennis players, they start at the midline and then they go and return a shot, and then they get back to the midline as quickly as possible to be ready for the next shot. And There is a lot of ease in this way of living because it doesn't necessarily, it isn't about whether you miss a shot or whether we don't have to get pulled into the thinking of the game itself. We can remember that our job is just to get back to the midline, get back to that place of ease as quickly as we can. And that way we're ready for what's next. It's a place, it feels to me, of self-care. And envisioning or opening to the idea that a day could be easier than we expected feels like just a gentle question to ask ourselves. So that's what this week's Quickie Self-Care Practice is. Yeah. I hope you're enjoying these, that this is a series that's helpful for you. And it is today as this comes out. So I recorded it 3 days before the winter solstice, which was on Sunday, Sunday the 21st in real time. And then it comes out on Tuesday the 23rd. So if you're listening to it in real time, it is 2 days before Christmas. It's so interesting what, just if I think about in my own story, my own life, in on the 23rd of December, 2022, I sustained a head injury rock climbing. And that it was so interesting because the I remember being at the hospital and being told, okay, the good news is that you don't have there's nothing strange on your scans, like there's no bleeding, there's no brain bleeds, nothing wrong with your neck, no fractures, nothing like that. But I remember they said, you are going to have an almighty headache. You can expect that. And they said that what I could do best to heal was to rest, get lots of hydration, and lots of rest. And I remember being like, okay, it's 2 days before Christmas. I mean, I'll do my best. In fact, I remember that my youngest, who's now my oldest, sorry, my 25-year-old, is a paramedic now. At the time, he was an EMT and he worked in an emergency room. And I said to him, I was afraid to even admit that something was wrong. So I'd been rock climbing. I was terrified about all the sort of sensations that I had in my body. I did already have an almighty headache, and I remember thinking, well, I'll just message him, even though he's right downstairs. I can't say this to his face, so I'll just message him and I'll ask him like what the signs of a concussion are. And I was wrapping gifts when I sent this message. And he was up the stairs and knocking on my door like a shot. I mean, he was so quick. And he was like, why are you asking this question? This is an interesting question. What's going on? And I remember being very concerned that he would only want me to go to the emergency room because I was his mom. And he was like, Mom, it's not just because you're my mom. I would tell anyone who had had the feelings that you're having to go to the emergency room. So go to the emergency room. And then I didn't stop wrapping gifts. And finally he said, how about if I keep wrapping these gifts and dad takes you to the emergency room? And that's exactly what happened. It's just funny thinking about, and that turned out to be one of the most peaceful holidays in my memory. And I really tried to take their advice seriously. Like, do not overdo it. Rest, rest, rest. That's your priority right now. And even with that, I still, and I think of all this as good growth. It was in the end, it was a teacher for me, this head injury of opening to a new way of life. So I had been a real voracious reader. print reader, and to this day, it's 3 years later now, and I still don't I don't engage with print the same way. I just find that it doesn't hold my attention in the same way. I went through lots and lots of physical therapy because an area of the brain that was affected was my eyes, and so I needed to. I had a wonderful physical therapist to help with this too. Like I needed to do lots of work to be able to use my eyes well and not feel nauseous and not sort of have my world smaller because of I'd had this head injury. And to this day, the thing that's really remained is I just don't engage with print in the same way. That opened up some interesting things for me in terms of like I do a lot more audiobook listening now. And anyway, this has been kind of an interesting little rabbit hole because the question of what if today were easier than I expect has kind of gotten me thinking about ease and how might we give ourselves easier conditions that don't come from that year, the head injury, and this year, what I've been experiencing since probably mid-November is a return of the tendon condition that I live with. I tend to think of myself as having a disability. I do not tend to think of myself as disabled. And there were several weeks, late November into mid-December, where I have been, my hands have been saying, we really need your support. We need you to remember that we need rest. And when I finally did remember that, I've been giving them this rest now for probably about a week and a half, and things are much, much better. And it means that there is a lot that I've had to say, well, I can't do that this year. I'm just not going to be able, for example, to send out many, if any, cards. And I love cards so much. I love getting mail. I love sending mail. But this has been a different year. And the ease has come from understanding that, okay, now I get to choose to not do these things, to do this a little bit differently. And asking, what if today were easier than I expect? It feels like it's really aligned to all that. So, yeah, thank you for being here with me. And I'm really curious. I'd love to hear I'd love to hear your response to the following question, which is like, I think what I'm curious about is what does it take for you to allow ease in your life? One year it took a head injury. Another year it's taken this year some real suffering in my hands and in my mind about, just with fears. And to be able to allay those fears by showing up for myself and bringing self-care has brought ease. Wouldn't it be amazing if a year comes where I can bring that ease without bringing first the suffering? What is that line for you? I'm really, really curious how you support yourself and how you do bring ease for yourself. I would love to hear if this arrives in your inbox because you are a subscriber to Art, Creativity, and Wellbeing, such that episodes and other goodies show up in your inbox. Please, just hit comment or just hit reply, and I'd love to hear. If you are not a subscriber, that this arrives in your inbox, well, you can certainly become one by going to klockcope.substack.com. The link is in the show notes. And then it will arrive in your inbox, or the future ones will. But you can still find me at my website, klockcope.com. There's a contact page there. I would love to hear what this means for you. This idea of like bringing ease without first bringing a lot of suffering on yourself. Um, I have, as I mentioned, today's question is directly from this course that I created for the Dreamers and Doers group that I founded. I have spent December reflecting on and hearing from members, from people on what they love about it, what feels most aligned. And I've decided if you listen to earlier episodes, you might hear me say something along the lines of the price is going to go up at the end of December or on the 1st of January. And I've decided to not do that. Instead, what I've decided to do is kind of a pay as you go model. I remember not pay as you go, pay what you can, pay what's aligned model. And I was remembering being on my book tour. So the book that came out in 2023, sorry, the book about my ability to go from needing a wheelchair to solo hiking across northern England on my own 2 feet. That book is called Waking Up, and it came out in 2024. And I had the great opportunity to go on a really fun book tour. And one of the venues for the book tour did they set up the the event for people to register in a really beautiful way in what they called pay what you can. And there were some different price points that people could choose to to attend. And I just loved that. There was no, you didn't have to like plead your case. You didn't have to do anything. You could just make the choice that was best for you in terms of what felt good financially. And I've been really thinking about that. And I decided that that's what I'm offering for in my group community. So there's 3 tiers, and the first two are standard and premium. And they're identical in everything except price. So someone could pay as feels aligned for you. And then the third tier is, I think of it as the magical tier. I'm offering for someone who wants to go a little deeper and be a little more proactive in creating the life that you would like to be living. I'm offering a magical tier. So this is it's a little bit more of an investment in terms of time and in terms of resources, in terms of money. And what we'll be doing in that tier at that level of magic is we'll have a circle every month that will be a tarot circle. I very often do in my coaching work. I use tarot cards not to predict the future. I don't see them as a divination tool in a like in the sense that you might think of fortune tellers or something like that. They are an outstanding coaching tool because they're super reflective of they really do a great job at holding up a mirror. And for anyone who is a little concerned about tarot cards or using them, I often like to say, tarot is a game that was invented 400 years ago by bored Italian nobles. And it is the basis for our modern card decks. And I personally have coached and supported people in all walks of life, in many different faiths. I mean, everything from one gentleman that I worked with was a fundamental Christian, like someone who has a very, very strong Christian faith. I've worked with people who feel very spiritual but don't align to any religion. I mean, the idea that of just someone being open to what is there for them to learn about themselves is really the basis for tarot cards. And so every month we'll be having like a magic circle in which we'll be using tarot cards to help us be aligned, with our most deeply held values, and there'll be some gentle support in those. Um, and then there will be a monthly playbook that I'm creating as we go through the year, and there will be a what I'm thinking of as a private kind of sanctuary for those at that tier to be able to connect with each other and support each other along the way. So yeah, so those are the three tiers. There's two that are exactly the same, except someone can pay what level of investment feels right for them, either the lesser or the more, depending on which tier you choose. And then this magical tier of self-discovery and exploration and the creation of what you would like to have in your life at a deeper level. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I encourage you to visit Dreamers and Doers. The link is in the show notes, and just see for yourself if it's something that feels aligned. It's a great place. It's a great, great place, and it's a lot of fun, and we would love to welcome you in it into the community. I am wishing for you a wonderful week. If it is a holiday week for you, then I wish for you all of the ease and enjoyment that you could possibly, have and feel rested. And joy too, feeling joyful and also rested. Those are my wishes for you. Thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate you. I love that we get to walk this path together. And I hope today is a good one for you. Lots of love. We'll talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye bye.